Now that our controller rig is finished, in this lesson we'll cover ways we can approach skinning our character. So this is where we get to see all of our hard work pay off. Let's go ahead and head over to Layers, and we'll go ahead and start to hide all of the objects we should not see at this point. So all we should see right now is our geometry, our deforming skeleton, and our controls. So I'll just go in and start to hide the hidden layer and any other flexi systems that are currently visible. That's much better, much easier on the eyes. Alright, let's go ahead and bring back our geometry and unfreeze that layer. I'll also press F3 to go to shaded mode. Now the great thing about this character is it's made up of several pieces. What does that mean? Well, that means that we don't have to add every single part of our skeleton to this entire character. We only need to add envelope objects to the mesh that would require that envelope object to deform it. So let's go ahead and use our shirt for an example. We know that with the shirt, if we were to go ahead and go to wireframe mode with F3, we know that we'd need to add our counter twist shoulder bones, we need to add the chest bone, the flexi line for the spine, our pelvis, and the counter twist bones for the thighs, but that's it. We wouldn't have to worry about any of the systems tied to the arms or legs, nor the neck. So let's go ahead and add our skin modifier. Go ahead and press the S key. Now I'd like to point out that we will not go through and skin the entire character in this lesson. We have tutorials that cover skinning techniques and introduction to character rigging as well as introduction to rigging. We cover some ways you can approach skinning to kind of save time. But we'll go through, take a look at our bones list here. Let's go ahead and choose add. And remember, we used a certain naming convention to find objects easily. So if we wanted to find the flexi system tied to the character's spine, it's just a matter of going to the find field at the top and we can type in spine, and you can see Max does a great job at filtering out everything else to get to the objects we need. So now when we choose select, instantly those objects are added. Now how about the counter twist shoulder bones? Well, we can simply go back to our add bones list and we'll search for bone, asterisk, shoulder, and it's as simple as that. If we were to scroll through in this list, you can see there's one object, there's the other. So now when we choose select, it's automatically added. Beautiful. How about the counter twist bones for the thighs? Well, let's go ahead and do that. That's going to be bone, asterisk, thigh, select. Let's not forget about the chest bone, nor the clavicles. We'll go ahead and choose add. I'll search for bone underscore chest. I can start to type in that name, and there it is, right there at the top of the list. Let's choose select. Let's go back. We'll search for bone, asterisk, clav, and take a look. There's one object. Scroll down. There's the other. We'll choose select. Let's not forget about the pelvis either. I believe that's the last object we'll need to add for this mesh. So that's bone underscore pelvis. Great. Now I'll go ahead and press F3 so we can go back to shaded mode and take a look. I'll go ahead and enable edit envelope mode by simply clicking on the skin modifier. And what we can do at this point is see how far we can get by adjusting our envelope capsules. But we may not be able to get too far by editing them, so at that point we would simply need to go in and actually paint weight. And again, if you'd like to learn more of those techniques, feel free to take a look at Introduction to Character Rigging. Now, I'd like to point out another area that might seem kind of tricky, but honestly we can get this done pretty quickly, and that would be the character's cleats. So what would be best for this mesh here that consists of several pieces? Well, what we could do is essentially create a group, and then we can add an FFD modifier to that group, which is essentially a cage that we can deform to get some really smooth results and really nice looking deformations. So instead of skinning several pieces, we're only dealing with just one group. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look. What I'd first like to do is just go in and hide the character's skeleton. And now we can go in and kind of marquee select. We'll find a good camera angle so we can grab the left cleat. I'll start to deselect any objects we should not add to our group. So I'll deselect the control objects, of course. Now for the socks, we wouldn't have to add this to our group at all. I'd recommend using a skin wrap modifier. It's just a way of having geometry follow a deforming mesh. So you can see how that would save time. Feel free to take a look at Introduction to Rigging to learn more about it. Again, it's truly a wonderful tool that helps us to save a lot of time so we don't have to spend much effort in skinning objects that don't need to be skinned and painted. I'll go ahead and deselect the global control, and we should be good to go at this point. I'll go ahead and alt right click and grab the group tool, and we can name this something along the lines of L_cleat GRP01. So now when we choose OK, looks like the leg was added. I'll just go ahead and press F4 just to take a look at the wireframe here. I'll deselect the leg. All right, now we're good to go. I'll go back and create the group. Let's go ahead and name it again L_cleat GRP01. Okay, and at this point, we can go ahead and add our FFD modifier. I'll head over to the modifier list, and we'll go ahead and press the F key until we get to that group. And we can go ahead and add the FFD box modifier, which gives us more control over customizing the freeform deformer. So I'll go ahead and add that. At this point, we can go ahead and expand this to get to the lattice sub-object. We can go to our rotate tool, and we can have this conform to the foot by simply rotating it just slightly. And then we can go to set volume. This is cool because we can start to grab a few of these points here and have this modifier conform to the geometry it will influence. So this is a really neat tool in Max. I'll go to the move tool, make sure it's set to local, and then we can start to adjust our points locally given the direction of this foot. So we'll just go in and start to modify a few points here, maybe pulling a few points out. Great. So you get the idea here. I'll go ahead and take a few of these points here at the top and maybe pull them in a bit more. And it doesn't have to be perfect at all. I mean, this would give us great results already. Maybe going to the back of the shoe and pulling out a few points here, that might be a good idea. But you'll see that when we now go to control points mode and we start to pull at some of these points, we're going to get some really nice looking deformations. Great. So once we then skin to our group, we'll notice that in no time at all, we can get this cleat taken care of. And another exciting part is we can actually work with our envelope capsules to essentially take care of the shoe's deformations. That saves us a lot of time. You have to really enjoy those envelope capsules. All right, great. So basically, I just wanted to go through and kind of cover with you some techniques to help you save time. When it comes to the character's face, you can take these pieces of geometry like the brows, the eyes, and you can skin them to the head bone fully. And then when it comes to the character's skin here, the actual face and the neck, we'd want to tie in our flexi line for the neck, the head bone, of course, and then we'd also want to tie in the chest bone so we can lock the base of the neck. Just to give you some ideas for this undershirt, you might add, let's say, just a few parts of the flexi line of the neck, maybe even the last flexi bone of that system would work, but you'd of course want to also add the chest bone, and that should be it. Alright, so that's a look at ways we can approach skinning this character to save time. So go in and have fun. Again, I'll provide the final file for you in case you would like some ideas as to how to approach some areas. But I'd like to also thank you for watching as we learned some really cool techniques in this tutorial, and I'll see you in the next training series.